Hi, my name's Christina, and I donated a kidney to my father 2 years ago. Watching my dad on dialysis for several years was really difficult because it just felt like he wasn't able to live his full life, truly enjoy his retirement, and then of course all of the complications that can come along with dialysis, whether that's infections or other limitations that just held him back from being able to enjoy the retirement that he worked so hard for. When I learned more about what kidney failure was, what surprised me was that you could have ways to be able to sustain yourself. So there were treatments like dialysis that would help your kidneys to continue to function, but also that you'd have the ability to undergo something like a transplant surgery and be able to resume living a full and healthy life. The other thing that surprised me about kidney failure was that really no gender, ethnicity, or age group would be immune to experiencing kidney failure, and that it could impact any one of us. I decided to donate a kidney to my dad because I had two and he needed one. It was really that simple. In the case of our relationship, he's given so much to me to help me be who I am and live the life that I do today. It was really just a no-brainer to be able to pay back and give him back his ability to live a full and healthy life. I think what surprised me about living donation when I started to research it was that it was even possible. You just think about the advances that we've made in modern medicine and how routine something like this can actually be. And it's really just the fact that it can even happen is kind of remarkable. And just understanding more about the process of it really surprised me going into this. My family was certainly concerned about this decision going into the experience, mostly because in their minds I was young and they didn't want me to face any complications later in life. But I was able to give them some reassurances. Our medical team was able to give them some reassurances about the impacts of making a decision like this and going through with donation. And I got some assurances myself going into the experience about what to expect, both in the short term and also in the long term. But certainly that helped to alleviate the concerns of my family. And as it related to the decision that I was making in donating to my father, that's a very personal decision. It was a difficult one for my father to accept. To take a gift like that from your child was no doubt a difficult decision that he too had to make. So I think that probably took us most of the time in terms of coming around to a decision. It was a no-brainer for me, and for him it definitely took some time to digest what he felt would be the impact that he would be having on me. I definitely had some fears going into this experience. Some of the ones that come to mind for me were, was it going to hurt? What was it going to feel like? How uncomfortable was I going to be? And for how long was I going to be uncomfortable? So I just really wanted to understand what the experience was going to be like, and then also what the impacts were going to be in the short term as well as in the long term. I was able to alleviate some of my concerns by just asking a lot of questions and making sure that I didn't leave any stone unturned. I also brought my husband with me to medical appointments because he would ask questions that I might not have thought of, and he was also there to listen to the responses too, so he'd have a full understanding of the experience. I used a lot of different resources to be able to answer the questions that I had and get the information that I needed. One of the best things that I did was actually ask to be connected to another living donor. So I had somebody that I could tap into and who had really just lived through it and who understood, day by day what I could expect. Thankfully, this individual stayed in touch with me as I went through my journey, and kind of like on a day-to-day basis, we were able to actually exchange emails and texts, and it was just nice knowing that somebody else had experienced exactly the same thing and could help to normalize some of what I was feeling, and also just give me some tips on what I could do to help navigate my recovery a little bit better. I had some financial questions about the experience and what to expect. I do live in Canada, so our healthcare system is a little different than other places in the world. But the questions I did have were about how long I was going to be off of work, what that was going to mean in terms of me being able to generate an income. And I was very fortunate that I could be transparent with my organization and just share what I was planning to do. And we were able to just explore that through our insurance providers to find out what that meant. And I was surprised that I was actually greeted with a ton of support from my employer in terms of finding ways to be able to get through this experience with a minimal impact to our income. Having a support network going into this is so important. I think often when we're feeling vulnerable, we might find it difficult to ask for help. And when you are recovering from this experience, you need to focus on your recovery. In my case, my mother-in-law was able to come and stay with us for a few weeks, and that certainly helped to take the pressure off because she was able to help with cooking and laundry and helping to take care of our little guy. And honestly, I don't know what I would have done without her being here to be able to help get us through it. So I did find that we had friends and family members. Everybody wanted to do something to help, so you do have to find a way to be clear about what they can do to help in the way that you need them to, and don't be afraid to ask for it, and don't be afraid to leverage the support that's available to you. I needed to make some lifestyle changes post donation, more because I wanted to. So it's all the more important for you to make sure that you're getting a healthy diet, that you're getting regular exercise or activity, and also water. So important that you're getting your water in. And I think the experience of donation just really helped to, again, just ground me in the awareness of these are things that I should be doing, but actually put me in a position where I wanted to do them. My body had just been through so much, and it was important for me to make sure I was caring for it so that I could resume my normal activities. But also just seeing what my dad went through too gave me just a chance to pause and consider that I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself in the near term, but also in the long term. So my surgery took about 3 to 4 hours to complete. I can't remember the specifics because I was asleep. I do remember waking up in recovery and being able to see my husband right away. And then I was in the hospital for about 3 days. So all told, in terms of what my body had been through, I was really surprised that I was released that quickly. But I felt ready to go home and able to go home by the time I was released. If I could share a tip about when you're in the hospital, it would be to just listen to your medical team. They are there to push you through the first phase of your recovery, and they're going to be asking you to do things that you might not feel ready to do, but you are. And you just have to kind of push your body forward. But I found that everything that my medical team told me would happen happened. Everything that they told me I would feel, I did. So it's just really important to kind of communicate with them, tell them how you're feeling as well. Don't shy away. If something's feeling a little off, make sure that you're letting them know, and they can ensure that they're doing what they need to do to keep you healthy and to help alleviate pain. But my tip would be to listen to the guidance from the medical team. So the best moment for me after surgery was, of course, being able to see my dad. We were in different rooms, I would imagine because of the male-female component, but he was down the hall from me. And I don't even know how I found the energy to muster up to do this, but it was probably about 2 a.m, and I just felt like I needed to see him and ask the nurse if she could help me get to his room. So I actually managed to get up and was walking with my catheter and my IV down the hall to be able to see my dad for the first time. And so just being able to reconnect with him in that way was really special. I think I was back to my normal self probably about 6 to 8 weeks after the surgery, just feeling like I was able to do the things that I could do pre-surgery without needing to kind of stop and rest. But it's kind of amazing the progression that you have. You just sort of notice these milestones. After the first week, you start to feel a little bit better. Second week, there's some switch gets flipped somewhere. After 3 weeks, you're kind of starting to realize that you're bouncing back. But probably about 6 to 8 weeks all told, I started to really feel like myself. When I was recovering at home, I could do just about anything, but I just needed to do it slowly. Stairs were for sure challenging for starting out. Sitting was uncomfortable, so I could sit for a bit, and then sometimes I'd need to lie down for a bit, and sometimes I'd need to stand for a bit. So it's really just about finding what works for you and being prepared to adjust. But it's really important for you to just make sure that you're continuing to move around and start rebuilding your strength. After donating a kidney, my overall health is really the same. I feel the same as when I went in for the donation surgery. I don't, really notice anything significantly different, aside from the fact that I'm just really conscious about, how much water I drink and, any type of overexertion. But I think all of these are things that I would be and should be thinking about whether I had donated or not. But overall, I don't notice anything being different after my surgery. After going through this, I think the thing that I'm just sort of left treasuring is just how amazing the human body is, and the fact that you can give a part of yourself in this way and bounce back and still live a normal, happy and healthy life. So the question I get asked most often about when I share my story is actually about sexual activity. And many people are maybe curious about it, but some people might be afraid to ask. So I'm just going to go for it and share it with you. In that there will come a time where you're able to just resume life the way that it was. So probably about 3 to 4 weeks after your surgery, you might be open to starting to re-engage in that part of your life. But I think it's just really important to have open communication with your partner and just sort of a loving and respectful dialogue around what you're comfortable with as you start to just sort of heal and move through your recovery. But everything will resume the way that it was pre-surgery. I think overall what surprised me the most was just how amazing the human body is, and what my body was capable of doing, and how it was able to heal and recover from this experience, both externally as well as internally. It was really phenomenal, but I know that I had a role to play in helping to guide that along too, by making healthy choices in what I was eating, and making sure I was getting in my water, and making sure I was resting too. But I think what surprised me the most was just how I was able to heal, and that really 2 months after surgery I was back in the gym, with high intensity training workouts, and able to just kind of re-engage in my life. So that was pretty surprising to me. So looking back, the best part about making the decision I did to donate a kidney was just being able to positively impact somebody's life, and to give them a second chance at being able to live their full life. So that is certainly, for me, the best part of the decision. I have always been a supporter of organ donation. Certainly in most cases with organ donation, you're not here to see the benefits of the gift that you've given, but for living donation, being able to see the impact that you've had on another person's life, and really a whole family's life and lives, is pretty powerful and pretty amazing, and something I'm really proud of. One of the pieces of advice that I'd give to anybody considering living donation is to not let fear override your decision. Yes, it is scary. Yes, there are things that are unknown. Yes, it's going to be something that is painful as you go through your own recovery, but it's not something that you're going to regret. Being able to give this kind of a gift to another human being is without question one of the most powerful, important, and meaningful decisions I've ever made in my life. And I'm just so happy that I was able to share myself in this way with another human being, in my case, my dad. And it was just an experience that I'm so grateful for, to be able to see the kind of impact that I could have on another person. So be brave, ask the questions that you need to ask, and know that you're not alone in this. There's a whole community and network of individuals who would love to be there to rally you on and to support you.